Hi, Professor. This is the project for ITL 672, Week 4 assignment, Evidence-Based Intervention for National University. Professor Wilson, my name is Jacob Michael Espinola. Let's get started. Second step. The second step program states, Committee for Children Research-Based Second Step, SEL, gives teachers an easy to implement engaging way to teach social skills and concepts. Second step, SEL, is designed to help children thrive and be more successful in school, ultimately setting them up to be thoughtful and productive adults. Committee for Children. And here I have an illustration. It says, not just better students, but better people. The 4 competencies for second step is 1, growth mindset and goal setting, 2, emotional management, 3, empathy and kindness, and 4, problem solving. Second step has 3 intervention programs. I'm going to incorporate all 3. However, the grip and the focus for this project itself, it will be on social emotional learning second step and skill management, or we like to say self-management. So social emotional learning second step programs are research-based, teachers informed, and classroom tested to promote social emotional development, safety, and well-being of children from early learning through grade 8. Committee for Children. And again, the social emotional learning competencies are self-management, self-awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, and social awareness. Intervention program, bullying prevention. The research-based second step bullying prevention unit gives educators and school staff the training and tools needed to effectively address school bullying in kindergarten through grade 5. Committee for Children. And lastly, intervention program, children protection. Available for early learning through grade 5, the second step child protection unit empowers prevention by providing training and resources to help adults and kids know how to recognize, respond, and report abuse. Committee for Children. So second step has components of intervention. When you log in, you'll see a 4-set plan. However, every component has 5 lessons. And in one lesson, you'll see a title, the lesson objective, key concepts and skills, the lesson's vocabulary, and followed by resources for preparation to extend the lesson. This lesson is also included in English and Spanish in a presentational format and includes a video and a learning task to assess the student's understanding of the competency itself. Emotional management. So like I said, our focus will be on emotional management at the grade 5 level. Describing a recurring situation in which they typically feel a strong emotion. Recognizing what they can and cannot change about recurring situations in which they feel strong emotions. Describing changes. They will make too many strong emotions the next time the situation occurs. And this information was gathered from Kwan K, Han Ra, AR, and Kuzi KA. So this builds on emotional management and how we guidelines and interventions. Set aside time for second step lessons at the beginning of each day every morning. Embedded second step into the school schedule. Implement the program school-wide so everyone is learning and using the skill at the same time. 4. Have all classroom teach second step lessons the same day and time of the week to ensure everyone uses the same vocabulary and teaches the same skill to all students. 5. Ensure that students learn about and have opportunities to practice the skill every day, every week. Student engagement and motivation. Have a conversation with students before introducing second step lessons to discuss how their program teaches skills important for both schools and life. Discuss how second step is going to benefit the school as a whole and include students in teaching this lesson. Have students help facilitate the lesson. Ask students to interact with the screen to open up the next question or start a video. Pause the video so students can talk and discuss. Incorporate more questions like, does this sound familiar? Does anyone have another story that can connect to this? Ask administrators to teach lessons with the teacher. So motivation. Get the students to use their prior knowledge. Get them engaged so it feels like this is based on their life, so they can find self-management tips to improve for their life and really get them motivated to understand that this is not something that's going to really be a short-term goal or thing, but a long-term goal to help you in the adult life, because that's what the students all want. They want to know, how can teachers really help me when I grow up? Monitoring tool. In the second step, elementary and second step middle school digital programs, each unit ends with a performance task. These formative assessments are fun, engaging activities that allow students to demonstrate their learning from that unit and give educators an opportunity to monitor progress towards SEL goals. Here's a 5th grade monitoring tool example. Emotional management, grade 5, unit 2, lesson 9. What can I change? Performance task. Now let's think about different strong feelings. Imagine that every time you have to give a presentation, you feel really stressed. Talk with your partner about what you think makes this situation stressful. Create a T-chart with columns can change and can't change. Take turns in your group describing the change you would make and how you think it could help. Now, for instance, if I was talking to my partner about this, I would say things I can change. Preparation before the presentation, such as, did I study my presentation? Did I include all the objectives and the goals that I include? And did I reread the presentation so I don't stumble or fumble during the presentation, to ensure little stress levels are down for getting, embarrassed for messing up. But it's okay if we mess up. Everyone messes up. And things we can't change. You can't change the audience. You're going to have to do it that day, so you can't change that. But like I said, preparation, probably the most important thing for presentation. And supporting emotional regulation. So here's a little management tip for a kiddo having a hard time. It's a little out of order, but it's all right. And this comes from Ann Bailey Lipsit from 2011, research suggests instead of using time out, teachers can utilize a time in approach where they place the children in a closer proximity to them. This allows the child to feel the adult's presence when he or she is calming down, aiding in his or her regulation. Now, you don't want to put your child in a corner or anywhere that looks like they're excluded from class and activity. So I have kind of an example here. It's not my classroom. I don't have too much pink in my classroom unless it's from the students' art that we have on the board and around the walls. But for example, I also have a desk and I have my desk like extended. But however, if I know that a kid's having a hard time, I'm gonna say, all right, you can come work with me. We'll talk about what's going on. And then it's kind of like a one-on-one plus whole class instruction. And I really didn't know I was doing this strategy until I came across this research. And I have this one student that right now he's made so much change that he's spreading his change onto his little friend that also has a hard time managing his anger. But I just had him over one day. We had a one-on-one the whole week, not the whole week, the whole day from 8 to 3. And he did all his work. It was like a one-on-one, like I was saying. And then at the same time, I'm teaching a whole class. I'm not there on my desk all day, of course. We have an activity and then we do individual work and I go around the rows. But this supporting emotional regulation in this time in instead of time out is something I see very beneficial, and I see it making a real big difference in my kiddos. Effectiveness. Improvements in professional skills, empathy, conduct, shown with second step elementary classroom kit. This study, the first with the 2011 edition of Second Step Elementary, conducted an randomized controlled trial over a 1-year period with 7,300 students and 321 teachers in 61 schools across 6 school districts from kindergarten to grade 2. Significant improvement in social and emotional competencies and behavior were made by children who started the school year with lower baseline skills than their peers. Additionally, the number of lessons completed and students' engagement were predictive of improved student outcome. Low S. Cook, C.R. Slowski, K. Bunton, Rickleff, J. 2025. 2015. Data. Consistent with our hypothesis, the second step would promote social emotional competency and reduce disruptive behavior. We tested whether students intervention schools would perform better on severe social emotional measurements than students in comparison schools. Students in schools that implement second step showed greater improvement in DESS SSE skills learning, which is strengths and difficulties questionnaires. Found those that did the questionnaires, time times condition was a 22% increase, while the G, intra-class correlation coefficient, was 11%, as compared to students in controlled schools, and greater reduction in student strength assessment, emotional problems, 12%, and G equals negative 10%, and SDQ hyperactivity, P equals 1%, and G equals negative 11% over a 1-year period. So what we're seeing in here is schools that take the time and conditions to practice second step show an increase in improvement of strengths and difficulties in questionnaires. Intervention. Slowski, Bunting, Rickliff's right. The majority of significant findings were moderated effects with 8 out of 11 outcomes variables indicating the intervention produced significant improvement in social emotional competency and behavior for children who start the school year with skillful deficits related to their peers. All the significant findings were based on the teacher report data, highlighting a need for replication using other information and sources of data. Findings provide programs validation and have implications for understanding the research of SEL programs. In short, data based on the data given, SEL time conditions benefit students in social emotional learning. Implementation. Set aside time for second step lessons after the beginning of the year. Excuse me, I think we already did this slide, but I'll do it again. I apologize, this was supposed to be at the bottom as it is right now. Embedded second step into the school schedule. Implement the program school side so everyone is learning and using the skill at the same time. Have all classroom teach second step lessons the same day and time of the week to ensure everyone uses the same vocabulary and teaches the same skills to all students. And lastly, ensure that students learn about and have opportunities to practice the skills every day, every week. Committee for Children. Demographics. We collected school level data from publicly available online resources. NCES website, school district website on the type of schools, number of students, racial, ethnic composition of students, and percentage of students receiving free or reduced price lunch. Administrative data such as students' mobility, disciplinary actions, suspension, and absenteeism were also collected from participation schools. Limitations. Socioeconomic status. Year 1 findings limiting our ability to formally examine the interpret mediation, mediation and mechanisms of change cannot necessarily extend beyond early elementary population. Inclusion of proactive classroom management, training with the second step. And I didn't include this bullet, but it was through K through second grade students, not K through 6 or K through 12. My reference. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully my data adds up and you learned a little bit more about the competencies of student motivation.